shots, striking both of the dirt bike riders. The dirt bike riders were riding bikes that were not street legal, not allowed to be on the street. As both individuals were struck, one was struck fatally, was shot one time. The other individual was shot multiple times, was treated, and has since been released from the hospital. We do have some video of that incident. We are examining it. We're going through it. We are going to get more video, and we're going to continue to work on this video to isolate and come up with a exact vehicle description. Anybody that has any information on this, we are asking you to contact Buffalo Police. Anybody that has video on the time of this incident and around Nottingham, Delaware area, up on the 198 that may have been a witness or has video, we ask you to please come forward as well. We will isolate this vehicle. We will come to this vehicle. We urge the individual to come forward, come and talk to our detectives. This is a time that's a populated area, 10 after 8 around Delaware Park. Like all of our shootings, this is an absolute heinous crime. It's a danger to the public around, and we are going to work very diligently to get justice for the two victims in this case.
Do they know? Did bike riders know the person in the car, or vice versa?
We believe at this time it was not a random shooting. We believe that one or both of the individuals may have been targeted. We believe it's not a random shooting.
And were there two people on a dirt bike, or was it just one?
Two dirt bikes.
How many shots were fired?
They're numerous. We're not going to release the exact number this time, but there were numerous shots that were fired.
Had the shooting started somewhere else before we saw it on the 198, or was it going on like that?
The shooting started just east of the Delaware overpass bridge there, so they would have been coming from the Parkside area of the 198, continuing on, and then the shots were fired right around that bridge just before the Nottingham exit. The suspect vehicle then exited the 198 at the Nottingham exit.
So are we thinking it wasn't some incident between the bikers and the vehicle? Do we know, or did they have a previous?
I don't have the answer to that question. We're still working through that. The investigation, our detectives are still actively working on that. So I don't know at this time what precipitated that shooting.
Any other cars in the area or anything affected or anything like that?
There was a house on Lincoln Parkway that sustained one bullet round that went through the house. Detectives responded to that house last night and collected some evidence.
The two dirt bikes were part of the larger group, right?
No, the two were riding by themselves.
What kind of weapon?
I'm not going to release the shell casings that were recovered.
But one shooter?
Again, that's part of the investigation. How many people were in the vehicle, and who was the shooter, and what seat positioning they were in. So we're still working through that.
And that vehicle got off, you said, at?
The vehicle exited the 198 westbound at the Nottingham exit, the Delaware exit that takes you onto Nottingham. It exited right there, and that's the video that we have that shows that. We also have information in the CAD in our 911 call system that describes the vehicle and has that exiting there as well.
And you're still looking for them?
Yes, like I said, we do have some video, and we are working through that video now.
Can you just talk about the whole dirt bike, ATV thing, and just rears its head, curiosity, and very concerned?
Yeah, and I'll leave this topic, and I'll talk in generally about dirt bikes and ATVs. They are an absolute complete menace to the city. It's a problem that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years, and not just Buffalo. It happens in New York City, it happens in Philadelphia, it happens in Los Angeles, it happens all across the country. They're an absolute menace. They're not registered, they're not street legal. You've got individuals that they don't wear helmets. Unfortunately, we had a terrible fatal accident a few weeks ago on Bailey Avenue where a not street legal dirt bike was involved in an accident, and that young man unfortunately lost his life. We see all too often these dirt bikes and ATVs that are driving recklessly on the streets, on the sidewalks. They're blowing through red lights. They're taking over intersections to allow others to pass through them. The City of Buffalo has extended a significant amount of resources, both through manpower, effort, time, money. We've had helicopters from both the state police and the sheriff's department. We've run successful operations the last 3 years. In 2020, We ran an operation on Memorial Weekend and then Labor Day weekend. Last year we did the same thing. We had significant results last year. I believe it was roughly about 44 ATVs on Memorial Weekend. And this year we ran another operation on Memorial Weekend, and we got, I believe it was another 24 just on Memorial Day Sunday. I think it has made an impact, but you know, they don't pull over for the police. They just wreak havoc on the streets, and we're going to continue to do what we can for the safety of the community to try to get them off of the street.
I just want to be clear before we go on. The commissioner there was talking in general terms and not specific about last night's incident.
That is correct. As I started, I was going off of that, what happened last night, and going just generally about ATVs in general. So,
Give me an update on Spalding for the weekend.
we are making significant progress on that case, so I expect some positive results on that. So the DA's office is very involved in finalizing that case. We're making significant progress.
The 2-year-old shot.
Yesterday, about 3:45 in the afternoon on Decker, we had 2 people shot. There was a 2-year-old child that was in the arms of her father. There was a dispute of some kind at the neighboring house. The father was out with some friends. I think they were working on some cars, and he was holding his 2-year-old daughter when a gunshot was fired, passed through the fence. It appears at this point that the bullet went through the arm of the father, through the arm of the child, and then traveled into the chest of the father. Police responded very quickly, got the child into a police car, and raced the child to ECMC. The child was stabilized for that gunshot wound to the arm, and then transferred by AMR ambulance to Children's Hospital. The father was transferred by AMR as well to ECMC. He was in stable condition. We are working on that case, and we are, and unfortunately what happens in cases is we're not getting a lot of cooperation. Here we are, another incident, and I'm not talking from the victims here. I'm talking from neighborhood and people around where this shots came from. The father and the daughter were innocent victims in this case. They were shot through a fence, so clearly there's really not a lot that they could have seen when you're on the other side of a fence. But here we are, another child in the city of Buffalo that's been shot, and we need some justice for this. You've got people that are firing weapons, randomly firing weapons, and you look at the results of what can happen here. I've stood before you here on many occasions. We're talking about gun violence. We're talking about the amount of guns that are illegally possessed, the amount of illegal guns on the street. When I say illegal guns, I'm talking about ghost guns. We recovered a 1,300% increase in 2021 on ghost guns. In the first quarter of this year, we're already up another 238% compared to last year. Ghost guns are a significant problem. They've got no serial number on them. Anybody can buy them. Convicted felons can buy them. And they are all over the streets of Buffalo. They're all over the streets of our country. And it's a significant problem. We also need some strict responsibility when people are caught with guns. We need them off of our streets. And when convicted felons are caught in possession of a gun, they also need to be taken off the street. We need them held on bail, and we need to try them and convict them.
Normally having about half an hour, 40 minutes to hit when you're filming?
That's that shooting. It just came out. I got a text message on that, so it's way too early to give you any details on that.
Commissioner, it seems like, after all the tragedy in Jefferson Avenue, it was quieted down for a period of time. It seems like the violence is heating up again. Do you attribute that to anything? Is it just the calendar? Is it nicer weather? Do you have any kind of insight?
There's a combination of things. Unfortunately, gun violence doesn't always know temperatures and the time of the year. We see it in the winter, and we see it in the summer. We had, too many shooting incidents yesterday alone. We just had another one that we're working on right now. I think, unfortunately, sometimes they go in spurts. We are, again, we're extending a significant amount of resources on preventative measures. We have police officers that are out doing our hotspot, micro hotspot patrolling. We have officers in a lot of areas. We have seen significant progress in areas that have traditionally seen gun violence. Some of these shootings are occurring in areas that we just don't regularly see that. The state gave us an additional grant for the last couple of months that allowed us to put more officers on overtime on the street, and a new gun violence grant kicks back in July 1st, where we'll be able to continue our ramped up anti-violence, anti-gun violence measures. So we've put a lot of measures in place. We are seeing a lot of progress in the areas that like I said, that are typically seen as hot zones, but that doesn't do us any good for the people that are getting shot in areas where traditionally they haven't. So, we're identifying those areas. Our intelligence detectives are also working very hard at identifying those that are involved in this. We had 2 very successful raids the other morning where we took a significant amount of guns off the street again. We did a press release on that. We released pictures, and we're going to keep showing the guns that we take off the street. There are far too many guns on the street, far too easy for guns to be available to anybody, and we're going to keep going after them. We're going to do our part, and hopefully we'll see some accountability in the court system. The DA is a very solid partner on prosecuting these as well.
Anyone else?
Yeah, that's going to go out. Michael will get those released. There was a shooting last night on East Ferry in the 1000 block of East Ferry. An individual was shot in the hand and arm, I believe it was. So it was in a vehicle that he was shot. We're working through that. It's another case. We recovered some video. We're working through that.
Aaron, there was about 9:45 that the male individual who was struck by gunfire and treated and released from ECMC. Anybody else? We all good? Thank you. We good?
It's okay, that talk real quick.
Okay. All good? All right, thanks.